Coach, you've talked about just not even giving up 30-point quarters, but to start the game with a 44-pointer. How much of that played into what happened the rest of the game?
It was pretty much the whole game. 81 points in the first half. It was deflating to just see them score like that and, running down the floor, getting easy buckets. And that falls on my shoulders, not having us ready to play at the highest level in the biggest game of the year, bottom line. And to your point, like that's just not who we are and who we've been.
And then just to follow up, when you're looking at the way they were scoring, I mean, you said like through 6 games, you know what they're going to do. Was it almost like you're talking to them like, hey, we've seen this? I mean, what were you trying to get across to them during that?
Well, at that point, you're just trying to get the spirit back. When they're running their offense with great pace and physicality on offense, and then we didn't make shots, and I thought that sent us into a bit of a tailspin, which is not common for us. We've been in games where we miss shots and we're able to get the stops we needed to, be productive. We just couldn't get any stops in the first half.
Monty, when the deficit grew to that length, what did you see from the guys in terms of the effort they were trying to do and like trying to balance not doing too much? I
thought like the effort was there, but it wasn't at the highest level where we needed it. I thought the shot missing messed with us a bit. Not having DA as a roller tonight, you could see the difference in their pick and roll coverage. They were stealing out to shooters more tonight, and they were actually in the passing lanes a bit more. But I thought we missed a ton of shots early, and I thought that brought our spirit down.
I know you're not big on comparisons, but this is 2 straight years with an ending like this at home. Did you sense a different energy from the guys, at least, though, to what I was asking about earlier?
I can't gauge that. I'm not quite sure if I can compare. They both they bring bad feelings about the game and what you're trying to accomplish. Neither day feels good.
Coach, Book's efficiency since that fall in the first quarter last game, it just wasn't quite the same. Was he fully healthy, or did that impact him?
I haven't gotten a medical report on that, but I think he is dealing with some soreness. Just watching him, he didn't have that same pop, and he's just too tough of a guy to admit when he's, feeling something. But there's nothing official as far as an injury is concerned. He just was toughing it out, and finally I just took him out of the game.
When you have another season that comes to an end like this, I know you guys didn't have as much time with Kevin as you wanted, but what's kind of your outlook for the franchise as far as what you need next time?
It's too hard to talk about that stuff right now. It's an emotional, tough loss. It's hard for me to even see past today. I want to go in there and talk to the coaches, and we will reevaluate as we go forward. But you're right, this is 2 years in a row where we've lost in elimination games like this, and it's just a bad feeling.
This franchise obviously has had championship hopes for a few years now, legitimate championship hopes. What do these, as you said, painful and very similar endings say about the group that you have, or the process that you guys have trying to put this championship puzzle together?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, it's 2 different groups. Last year's team is totally different than this year's team. Last year's team was more of a ball movement, body movement team. This year we're more pick and roll oriented and ISO oriented. So it's 2 different situations altogether. And so that's something that we need to take a look at to see what kinds of combinations of players we have to fit the style of play. But it's hard to make assessments about those kinds of things after, 20 minutes after a loss, if that.
Cam played the most minutes, and he obviously had the most efficient shooting night. So what can you say about his play in this series to help rejuvenate your team and tonight?
I thought the pace that he brought in games 3 and 4 certainly helped us win those 2 games, and it changed their defensive mindset in game five. They did a good job of nullifying the pace with physicality, but he brought energy and scoring and When he got the ball, he was getting it down the floor, putting pressure on the rim. I thought Jock did the same thing from a sprint aspect, rim runs, stuff like that, just causing cross matches. He and Cam helped us win 2 games in this series, and I'm thankful for that.
Monty, in the past, you've talked about how you reflect on a season as a whole in games like this. How do you process it the first 24 hours and then do more of it here in the offseason?
I mean, the next 24 hours will be what you can imagine. You know, you feel like you don't feel that great. You know, I take that personally, not having our team ready to play in the biggest game of the year. That's something that I pride myself on. And it just didn't happen tonight. And so that's something that I have to really take a deep look at everything I'm doing to allow us to be successful on these days.
Monty, this might not be a fair question just after the 20 minutes after the game, but how do you characterize the season itself?
I don't know. There's so many variables in a season like this, but they all seem like excuses. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not into that. You know, I look at myself first before anybody else, and you could point to all kinds of things, and I don't want to list them because that's just not. I don't think it's the right thing to do. I think you have to look at yourself, and that's what I'm doing right now, is looking at the things I can do better to help us on days like this and progress better during the season so we're ready for days like this. So there was a lot of things that happened this year, from injuries to trades and, you know, a lot of external things that could have been a distraction, and the guys just hung in there all year long. And I applaud the guys for that. We had a number of distractions this year, and they just stayed the course, and we just couldn't get it done today.
Coach, when you look at KD's shooting, it was kind of uncharacteristic for most of the series. Did it feel like, what would you attribute that to? Was it trying to fit in on a new team, or?
It's a hard one to really understand, you know, this early after a loss. Maybe it's something that I'm doing or we're doing, or maybe he just missed, you know, the shots that he's accustomed to making. I'm not quite sure yet. It's something that we'll have to evaluate as we go forward.
Mike, I was going to ask you something similar, but it just seemed like that after he got off to a slow start, shooting-wise, I mean, his body language maybe a little bit. Did you feel like he felt the pressure of just trying to be the normal shot maker he normally is?
I just think he cares. I think he wanted to, you know, bring this town something that it's never had before, and that's okay. You know, if a guy's upset about not making shots and not making plays, that's fine. I'd rather him care and you know, have that feeling than to not care. So I'm okay with that. I think it says a lot about who he is. You know, he wanted this badly, and I wanted it badly for him. So I just feel bad for all of our guys.
Hey, Monty, last year, if I remember correctly, after the Dallas game, you similarly took it upon yourself that you could have done better, you didn't have the team ready. Is it just because that's the way you are, you want to take the responsibility for it rather than, you know, basically pass it off to the players? Or what's your thought process behind that? I'm
just not a blame guy. It's just not my personality. It's not how I was raised, not how I was taught. I'm a no excuses, no explanation person, you know, when it comes to getting the job done. And I have people that I answer to, and they put a lot of trust in me. And when I let them down, it's, you know, it's just part of being a competitor. You want to win, you know, and that's the ultimate goal, is to win. And when you don't, I don't know of any competitor who doesn't look at himself first and try to evaluate so you can be better. Thank you.
Monty, thanks for everything this season.
Thank you.
Kevin, when it just started spiraling out of control there at probably the end of the first or start of the second quarter, what what's going through you guys at that point where it's just getting out of hand and the lead is stretching?
Yeah, it sucked. It was a bad feeling. It was embarrassing. They came out and hit us in the mouth. We couldn't recover. You got to give them credit for being a disciplined team.
Curious like we've talked before about elimination game, and you were saying played in each possession. Well, it's your last, and play a certain fashion. How early could you tell that you guys weren't doing that at the level it needed to be to win this game?
When we got down big, it happened pretty fast. They were getting whatever they wanted on the offensive side of the ball. So it's hard to get going on offense. It's hard to get going as a team if you're giving up points, that many points. 44 in the first, 37 in the second, 81 points at the half. It's tough to get going.
Just have one more follow. Just curious, you obviously when you came in, it was a rush, and then you get hurt and lose 3 weeks, and trying to piece this together. Maybe just speak to the challenge of all of that, and then you get in the playoff series where you don't have as much time as you would like against a team that's really good.
Yeah, if I provide context, it'll just be looked at as an excuse. We just got to be better next year.
Kevin, I know you've been asked a lot about that in the last couple of weeks, and I'm not trying to provide excuses for you or anything like that, but for a player like yourself who rarely looks like you're pressing, you rarely look uncomfortable, just how did you feel on the court for these 11 games in terms of getting to your looks, getting to the shots you normally get to?
I feel good sometimes. I felt good in Spurs. It wasn't consistent. Shots that I felt good leaving my hands didn't go in, But it was just the name of the game. It's frustrating for sure, but just keep working, get back into the gym, keep getting prepared. That's really what it is. The routine don't stop. The crafting of my skill don't stop. Just keep working from here.
When seasons end for you, how do you process them both instantly in like the first 24 hours and then over the course of the off season?
I just try to control what I can, which is working extremely hard and putting a lot of preparation into the game and my skill, and then just being present for the organization wherever they need me at any point, just making sure my phone is open and the dialogue is there. So I'm sure we'll check in with each other throughout the whole summer, but I just think my job is to continue to keep getting better and keep finding ways to get better as a player.
When you look at your time here and just the way that the season came to an end, how do you view kind of the outlook here in terms of, okay, we have this, and this is kind of what we need moving forward?
Yeah, it's hard right now to see what the future will hold for our team, but, we got a good foundation, good infrastructure, we can build on and move on from this and learn from it and get better from it. But it's a hard question to answer right now. I'm sure that, as the summer and off season starts to progress, we'll figure that out a little bit more.
Kevin, your efficiency numbers probably weren't where you wanted them to be this series. Do you attribute that to your defense? Was it a lack of chemistry with the team, a combination of both? What do you attribute that to?
Just didn't make shots. It was all on me, to be honest. Like I said, I feel like I prepared the right way. I took the shots that I want to take. Sometimes I probably rushed. I rushed a lot of my looks this playoffs, just trying to figure it out. But at the end of the day, it's all going to fall back on me. And so I watched film throughout the summer, watched different actions that I was in throughout the year, and see how I can just keep improving.
You didn't have any threes tonight, and that's unlike you to not take any three-point shots. What did they take away?
That's pretty normal for me, to be honest.
Well, so
I felt like I chucked a lot this year once I got here. And some of this series, I felt like I just chucked a lot of threes, but usually I'm not really a high-volume three-point shooter, so I just try to get to my spots. Maybe I should shoot more threes, but I just try to be aggressive going downhill as much as I can.
Katie, you know what winning championships is about. Do you think this franchise needs significant change to have a real chance?
We'll see. we'll see. I mean, obviously, you always want to make tweaks regardless. Whoever won the championship this year, I'm sure they're going to try to add to their team too. So I feel like every year, it's the GMs, coaches, players' job is to get better and find ways to adapt and become a better team. So I'm sure we'll make adjustments.
Kevin, I'm sure the reflection comes a little bit later, but what's something that you think you really learned this year? It was a year you've never had before, being traded midseason and overcoming a lot. What's something you feel like you've learned?
I don't think I learned anything new about myself. I mean, it's just an experience that you just got to go through. I mean, the last 2 years have been some new experiences for me in the league. So, just embrace it all and move forward, to be honest. I know what type of person I am. I know what situations I was getting into. I understand what may happen. So I'm not blindsided by anything. So just keep pressing forward, to be honest.
Kevin, even with this sense of disappointment at the end of everything coming to a close, you mentioned the infrastructure that you feel confident in. This is a situation you obviously requested to come to. So after a postseason, stretch here, what about the infrastructure that you saw before you got here? Are you still feeling pretty confident about moving forward?
Yeah, I am. I am. I had a great time playing with these guys, getting to know these guys, living in Phoenix, playing for Coach Monty, playing for the staff, so just more reps, that's all. Just more reps to that, and continue to keep building with one another. And we need to understand each other on a different level, individually and as basketball players, and I think that'll come. So we'll see what happens, Definitely frustrating and disappointing and embarrassing to lose. But losses happen, and it's about how you can get up and keep pushing and figuring out ways to become better. So that's really what the mantra is, just keep adjusting and seeing how we can come back better.
Thanks. Kevin, thank you, man. Thanks. How much did you guys miss DeAndre and Chris?
It's always good to have extra bodies in playoffs. It's tough losing guys, but guys, this is next man up mentality. Love how Cam played tonight. Jock came in and gave us some great minutes throughout this whole series. So you got to tip your hat to them. But injuries happen, and so you got to figure it out. And I think guys came in and played extremely hard. So, but obviously we'd love to have more bodies out there.
You knew Joker was a great player, obviously, before this series started. Is there any different level of respect or anything about his game that changes once you compete for a series?
Nah. I always have respect. I always knew how great he was. Always watching these guys, you know what I'm saying? All the great players in the league. Not surprised that these guys are good, especially somebody like Jokic. I've been watching him, playing against him for a minute now, since he hit his peak as a player. So, no, I wouldn't say I learned anything new. Great team, deep team, multiple guys that play well together, great continuity. Been together for how long Mike Malone been there? 6 years. That's a good advantage to have. You know your coach, the players on the team. You got a system in place for that long. So, no, I wasn't surprised at all. Jokic is an all-time great. I'm going to go down as one of the all-time great centers to ever touch a basketball. So he went out there and did what he was supposed to do.
Katie, just back to the game for a sec. It was 27-26, and then they run out 17 points. What happens at that point that the game got away from you guys so quickly?
They made shots. We couldn't get stops, and we were missing them. I mean, that's pretty simple. I know it sounds simple, but they came out and knocked down their shots. They got out in transition, got easy ones, and we couldn't get a bucket to go.
Thanks.
And obviously, we've talked about you as far as pushing the pace and getting involved, but you had a career playoff high, 31 points. Just what was flowing for you tonight, and how much were you doing all you could to keep this team in the game?
Man, the three was working for me tonight. Just kind of kept shooting them. Like they was falling tonight. Just wasn't enough though. Literally pushed myself to exhaustion tonight. Really every night I play as hard as I can. It's the playoffs. I'm tired, but man, the three-pointer was working for me today. Out of all the games, it was working though. Tried.
How frustrating though is tonight to have a game like that and you guys get beat in the manner the way you guys did?
It hurt. It hurt big time. It hurt big time, especially like with our team. Like it just hurt, and in front of the fans. Like that's not us. Especially after last year's, we kind of did the same thing. It's not a good feeling. I just wish it would have been at least closer. At least, of course, I want to win, but this just don't look good.
Cam, what do you kind of attribute those first quarter run? Because last year it was down 30 at halftime. This year was the same deal. What do you feel like spiraled out of control in those games?
I was probably say I mean, it was close in the first, but it kind of got away toward the end of that quarter. It's crazy, man. I can't even remember the game, man, because we was losing so bad. We just missed. We missed a lot. I know our two guys. I know they wanted to shoot a lot better and hit a whole lot of more points. So I know they're very upset about that. But I mean, I don't really know, man. Denver, hats off to them, man. They came out and played well on the road. That was big time. Like all they guys actually came out and played well, and it was tough. We was just a little slow tonight.
And what can you say about the past 3 games that have helping spark the offense, and what exactly did Denver do to take the other guys out but leave you open to basically do whatever you could to help save this team's season?
Well, my thing was just to try to push the pace, try to get us going a little bit quicker. The first 2 games, we were kind of like playing kind of slow over there in Denver. I didn't know 3 was gonna go out, but when I had the opportunity, my thing was just like push the pace, like from watching on the side, like, man, we can get a couple more easy baskets. I still feel like we could have got a lot more easy baskets. I wish we would have got a lot more easy baskets because that's what Denver did. They got a lot of easy ones. I feel like we worked for everything, like literally everything. It really wasn't no easy baskets for us, I don't think. But man, I just wanted to push the pace, try to give us a little energy change, the swag of the gym, swag of the team. I don't know. I just try to play faster.
Cam, at some point, Coach Monty said it was about trying to keep those spirits up in the game. What are the discussions like between the players when it's tough, trying to push through to keep the spirits up?
I mean, we always say, man, let's get some stops. Like that's the way. I feel like that's what fuel our offense, which is like the great talk we need as a unit. But we kind of got to go out there and do it a little bit more. Like we say it a lot. Like it's crazy. We all know what we want to do, know what we're supposed to do, and like when we go out there, I don't know. They kind of get a basket and we kind of hang our head, which is, I mean, it's the NBA. Like they got guys that's gonna score. Like Jokic hit 51 games, so you can't really hang your head. Just got to keep playing. So I mean, it's just the rallying, man. We got to rally a little bit more together. Really talk it out as a team. That's it.
Cam, just for you personally, how difficult was it, if at all, just to come back and be in the role you wanted to, coming back from the back injury you had?
What'd you say? I missed it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Was it difficult for you at all to come back into the role you wanted to with the back injury you had?
I mean, a little bit. Obviously, I wasn't playing. I was just kind of sitting and watching. I mean, during the regular season, a little bit different. But it was playoffs, and it's a lot more physical, things like that. Like I was a little fatigued. Couple of those games, it was like a little short spurts, but like C went out, so I had to play longer. So it was just a little different for me. Wish I would have played a lot better. But I mean, tonight I came out and played all right. It just took a couple games for me. I just wish we were still playing to really show y'all I got a little bit more to me.
Thanks, Ken.
Yep.